Hello and welcome everybody, Nicholas from Buycycle here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to quickly and correctly change your bike inner tube. Let's get to it. Right, so before we get to changing our inner tube, let's just quickly run through the tools you will need to get this done. So depending on the release system you have to get the wheel off your frame, you will need a multi-tool. If you have a quick release system like the one we have on this bike, good on you, you don't need the multi-tool. You will need tire levers, a new inner tube, and obviously a bike pump. Right, so in step one, we want to remove the wheel from our bike frame. As mentioned before, we have the quick release system on this bike. If you have the axle running through, get your multi-tool out and use that. Right, so now that we've got our wheel off our bike, we want to make sure that all the air is completely out of the inner tube. So if you have a press the valve, go ahead and unscrew the dust cap. Then unscrew the lock nut at the tip of the press the valve and press downwards and press all over the tire to get as much of the air out as possible. Then unscrew the lock nut holding the valve in place. And there you go. If you have a Schrader valve such as the one up here, there is a small button in the middle of the valve. Take your multi-tool, press down in the middle, and the air should come up. Now that we've got all the air out of our inner tube, we want to remove one side of the tire and the inner tube. But before we get to our tire levers, we want to de-bead the tire. The bead is basically the inner part that is directly touching the rim, and you just want to push that towards the center of the wheel. This will make it much easier to remove the tire from the rim. So now that we've de-beaded our tire, we want to get out our tire levers. And on the opposite side of the valve, so over here, use the hook side of your tire lever and carefully place it under the bead of the tire and pull it over the rim. Then using the hook at the bottom of the tire lever, secure it around one of your spokes. Take a second tire lever and about 5 centimeters next to the first one, we want to do the exact same. Get it under the bead and lift it over the rim. Now it should be loose enough to slowly move around the edge of the rim and get the one side of the tire off the wheel. So slowly drag it along. Now that we've got the one side of our tire off, we can simply take out our old inner tube. Should come out very easily. And there you go. Alright, so now that we've got the one side of our tire off the wheel and we've got our inner tube out, we can carefully, with our fingers, go ahead and inspect the entire wheel. Drag your fingers along the inside of the tire and check if there is anything sharp, such as a thorn, that might have made its way through the tire and caused the puncture. At the same time, we want to inspect the tape that goes along the inside of the wheel to see if any of the spokes may have protruded through the tape and caused the puncture. So we have inspected our tire and we've made sure that there's nothing sharp remaining. We want to get our new inner tube out. Remove the dust cap and the lock nut and slightly loosen the valve lock nut. So now that we've done that, we want to get out our pump and slightly fill the inner tube up with air so that it holds its form when we put it back into the tire. So get your wheel back out and starting at the valve hole, you want to place the valve into the wheel, slowly go around and tuck the inner tube into the side of the tire that we removed from the wheel. Starting at the valve, with both your thumbs, slowly make your way around the wheel, tucking the bead of the tire back into your rim, and at the same time making sure that the inner tube is not getting stuck between the tire and the rim. So now this is usually where things get a bit interesting. So if you made it to the opposite side of the valve, you might have noticed that the tire has become a bit stubborn and is a bit hard to get over the rim. So just once again, go around the tire and check that the opposite side, the other side of the tire, the bead, is pushed towards the center of the wheel. This will give us a bit more play to get that other side over the rim. And with some elbow grease, you should be able to get the tire back on to the wheel. Now, however, if you cannot get this stubborn piece of tire back over the rim, you can use the levers. However, you have to be very careful. I'm going to show you how to do that now. Get out your tire lever, and instead of using the hook side as we used to take the tire off the wheel, we're going to use the rounded bit. Hold the one side of the tire and carefully slide the lever under the bead of the tire and slowly lift it over the rim, and keep repeating that until we have the tire back in. And there you go. So now that we've got our tire back on, quickly do an inspection to make sure that none of the inner tube is trapped between the tire and the wheel. Once we've made sure that it is not trapped between the wheel and the tire, we can go ahead and pump up our inner tube to the recommended pressure, which is displayed on our tire. So go ahead and start pumping the tire. First, start out by partially pumping it up and then giving it another inspection to see if the inner tube is in fact not caught between the tire and the rim. Once we've made sure of that, we can go ahead and pump it all the way up to the maximum pressure. Don't forget to tighten the valve lock nut, and also don't forget to screw the lock nut back onto the valve to secure it onto the wheel. Same goes for your dust cap. And there you go. We can once again have a quick inspection and check if the bead of our tire is the same all around the rim. When you pump up your inner tube, when you pump up your tire, it'll normally pop into the correct place, so this wouldn't usually be an issue. However, if you do notice that in one area it's dipped down into the wheel, you can deflate the inner tube and with your fingers give it some assistance and push it up and out of the wheel. And then you can once again pump up your tire and put it back onto our frame, and we are ready to go. Well, there we have it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If any of you have any further tips regarding how to change it in the tube or any questions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. If you are interested in buying a bike such as this one, please visit us on Buycycle.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, peace.